Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle, and today we're going to be doing a 4th grade end of the year homeschool review. So we are at the end of the year. We are about to enter into our summer homeschool schedule, which I'll link up above if you want to see what we're doing for that. But I figured before I forget everything we did this year, it'd be good to go over what we covered. So my 4th grader, 10-year-old daughter, had some rotating subjects. So one week she would do word letters, and the next week she would do Sadler vocabulary workshop. This went really well, really easy. I think it does help with spelling because in order to, remove a word or a letter or something like that and make it fit, you'd have to know how it was spelled. The Sadler vocab went really well, and I think this is better than Wordly Wise. We had done Wordly Wise last year, and one of the things I really like about this in particular is every unit would start off with either a fiction or nonfiction story, and the vocabulary words are included in it. So you got to see how the vocab words were used. And for my daughter, language arts is something she's naturally very good at and excels in. So finding things to challenge her in this area can be difficult, but I think this did a really good job. She was definitely exposed to some words she wasn't familiar with, and we got to go over that, and I really like that. So you had to match the meaning and synonyms, antonyms. There was word root, prefixes, suffixes, things like that, word study. So again, I think this was a really good program. It challenged her in this area, and we definitely picked up the blue for next year. I did buy this off Thrift Books for $5-6 somewhere. It is used, as you can see here. It's got someone else's name on it. But there's only one page written in the book when I first got it, so it's completely usable, and it saved me like $10. Why not? But this went really well for her. Next would be every Monday she did health. So this is Harcourt Health. This is leveled, so this is grade 4. And I think this did a really good job. Went over basic things like hygiene, health, and fitness, poison control, medicine, drugs. There are some outdated things in here because I believe it was 2007, so things like marijuana, there's legalization of that. So I did discuss that with my daughter and things like that. That just updated, but it did go over food, nutrition, guarding against disease, emotions, family life. So things that I think are important to cover, how to read a food label. We know how to do that in my house, but also how to read a medicine bottle and take precautions with that, or peer pressure, things like that. So I think it was overall really well. We were able to finish almost the entire book just by reading a chapter, and again, a chapter was like 3 pages a week. So that worked well, and again, we would just discuss what she read. I would flip through it really quick. We would talk about it. Really easy, simple. So next would be on to math. So I did have my daughter continue multiplication facts, just practice, because again, this is something that we worked hard on. I don't want her to forget. Printed these free offline, and she would just do a page a day, and that helped keep her multiplication facts fresh, especially since we're getting into, fractions and division and things like that. You gotta have those math facts quickly. We finished 3A and are about to finish 3B. So she's on level 3 because she did public school K through 2nd, and that led some substantial gaps in her math. So we had to backtrack. So she was in 4th grade, but on level 3, yes. The only switch I've made with this is I'm having her do the textbook lesson and workbook lesson in the same day. Before, I had her doing the textbook one day and the workbook the next day, but I noticed that since some of that math anxiety has gone away and she's built confidence in herself, she can definitely step it up work-wise when it comes to her math, and she's done really well. So for example, in this one, I believe we skipped the first 3 lessons because it was all multiplication tables of 7, 8, 9, which we did multiplication facts at Stick with Kate Snow, the program. So she had those down. She knows the tricks for them. So we skipped that and went straight into fractions, which has gone really well. The only problem I noticed that this year she had was Division was a struggle with her. I'm not sure what it was about division, but that one took a little more practice. But this program works really well for her. It's in depth. It comes from multiple different angles to see things. And the repetitive practice benefits her because she's one that has to work with a program a lot before she feels comfortable doing it on her own. But I've noticed that she will pick up the textbook and try to do it independently now, which before she would not try anything without me helping her. So she's definitely grown in not only knowledge, but confidence. So I would say this is always a good one for us. She did do, moving on to language arts, she did do all about spelling 1 and 2 and flew through them. And I think, again, that's just because she reads a ton, that I think spelling comes a little bit more natural to her because she's just seen the words so much. And I was going to pick up 3 and 4, but then they released the new colored version, and they don't have 3 and 4 out yet, so I'm going to hopefully try to get that at the end of next year when it's supposed to come out. I don't know. But 1 and 2 almost seemed kind of like a waste of time because I think it was beneficial to learn some of the rules and kind of have her understand why we do it that way, but most of it she knew like that already, so. For language arts, she did Lightning Lit grade 4. And what I did with this for the only change I made for the composition, I had her use, so she did the composition assignment in here, but I had her use the skills she learned from IEW that she did this past summer to write her work. So I will insert a link for that about how I combine Lightning Lit and IEW. But she really likes this. I really like that she's getting to the point where it's pretty much independent. She can, do the reading. The reading's not much, it's a chapter maybe. Sometimes 2, she reads it 15 minutes maybe. She does the grammar exercise unless she has questions. I immediately check her work, so her reading comprehension questions and her grammar after she's done. Because yes, she's becoming independent, but I still need to make sure that she's understanding what she's learning. I think that's part of when your child hits that 4th, 5th grade level where they're starting to get independent, that you still need to make sure you're checking their work over and not leaving it to the end of the week or the end of the semester to make sure they're understanding the concepts even though they're able to do a lot more independently. And she's done really well. I've only had to help her a couple times with the grammar aspect of it, but reading comprehension, she got that down, no problem. And the writing assignments, again, she did really well with them using the tools from IEW. The one book that she loved the most out of this was the one and only Ivan by Catherine Applegate. It's one of the ways we discovered Catherine Applegate, which I think is my daughter's favorite author now. So she did read the one and only Bob, which is the dog story or version perspective of that. And then she's currently reading the one and only Ruby, which is the elephant's perspective in the book. And it just came out in May. So she's excited. So it definitely led to, a lot of the books in here led to reading more books. But I think most of the books were really on par for 4th grade. I think she could probably read above most of these books level-wise, but I do like that it incorporated different poetry as well. So we read 2 different poetry books with that. And again, I don't pre-read the books. I don't read the books with her. She reads all these independently. And that's one of the reasons that I make sure I'm checking comprehension questions because I'm not familiar with every single book she's reading, but I did like that it incorporated poetry as well. So on top of that, we've been working through Michael Clay Thompson Grammar Island because grammar is addressed in Lightning Lit, but it's very quick and, one thing, move on. I think Michael Clay Thompson does a much better job explaining grammar than any of the other programs I've seen. It's definitely outside the box and it's definitely not for every child. So what my daughter worked on this year was Practice Island. And again, this is just, let's see if we can get a piece of paper out here. Sentence analysis, so you break down noun, verb, adjective, parts of speech type thing, and she can do that independent clause, dependent clause, subject, predicate, all that, action, verb, predicate, all those things, as you can see here. So this is the acronym list that she uses. She's done really well with that. We did 2 of those a week, sentence analysis. We've been working through the MUD series, the books. The chapter books, they're supposed to accompany the end of the program, and I think they're really good. I really like how they're written. A lot of chapter books or kids books are kind of, I feel, dumbed down with language. Michael Clay Thompson does not shy away from using difficult language, so sometimes, and what's nice is in the books, he will write the word down here and then the definition of it. So procure, I don't think my daughter knows what that word is, but it's used in the story, and then we have a reference to that. And there are some in here I had to sound out because I'm like, wait, what is that word? So I'm learning as well. So we do read these together just because the language of it is a little bit higher end. I want to make sure she's understanding what they're talking about. But I thought these were great, and especially for my daughter who's excelling in language arts, this is challenging her in ways that I think are awesome. So the one thing we have to finish for Michael Clay Thompson, the first level grammar island, is the poetry, which we will continue next year. We did not get to the poetry unit of this, but we got through the rest of Michael Clay Thompson. Again, wonderful program. I really liked it for my daughter. And I think building language, which I'll put a picture of that because I have a PDF of the curriculum, went really well. I think learning those roots and those stems was really helpful, and it was quick and easy, and it wasn't like drilling or anything like that. One thing she also did was typing this year. She did two typing lessons a week, and that went well. We used the typing program that's free. So hopefully maybe next year she'll start to be able to type some of her papers. That would be nice. Well, that covers the core work she's done. I will go over group subjects following this video, but some of the things that I rewatched my curriculum picks video for this year just to see, what all I talked about. So we did not do any specific art class outside of the home. We did incorporate art twice a week into the house, but she decided that she no longer wanted to take an outside art class and instead is more interested in things like poetry. She's really into writing poetry right now. And also just design. She's been really enjoying designing like houses and furniture and things like that. So that's where she's going art-wise. She is continuing horseback riding. She had to take like a 5-month break this year because her teacher broke her ankle and she couldn't take lessons, but we still visited and groomed the horses and did all that. But she couldn't actually ride. And we are restarting that this summer. So that'll be exciting. I know she's excited to get back to that. The only other thing we did not get to this year was world language or foreign language. So my daughter wanted to incorporate French this year. And my hope was to originally, once we finished one subject that rotated in and out, we put that in. We didn't get to it, which is completely fine. We're going to be taking on French this summer, which is what I love about year-round homeschooling. It leaves, wiggle room for those things that kind of get left behind or pushed to the side. So we'll be continuing with French with that. I'm excited to see how it goes. But that is everything. Oh, one thing I wanted to share. So with my 6-year-old, my first grader, I shared her favorite read aloud that we've done this year. So I figured I'd share my 10-year-old's as well. So she had 2 favorites. The first was Shakespeare's Secret. This is the first read aloud we did this year with Torchlight. And it was really good. It goes over kind of the history of Shakespeare, but also in a mystery form. And I think she really identified with the female character in it and just kind of finding your place and hitting those preteen years. So this was really good. And it was one of her first mystery books. She's not much into mystery books, but she really enjoyed this. And then the other favorite was, of course, Endling, and everybody loved that in the house. We have finished the first one and the second one, so we only have one more Endling book in the series left. But I think that was a really great book. It talked about, power struggles. It's a fantasy book about, a mythical place, and what she really likes is books that include animals, but also talk about hard things like suffering, but also joy. She doesn't want, rainbows and unicorns, happily ever after. She's over that. She wants real things, and I think it's part of just getting into those teenage years, exploring, like I said with my youngest, Books give us a wonderful opportunity to explore different worlds, perspectives, and feelings in a safe environment to really exercise our emotions and how we are, but also in finding our own personal identity. I think that's wonderful about books, and that's why I think including books that are more difficult topic-wise, not necessarily reading level, but talking about hard things and suffering, I think is really important when we're developing that sense of ourself and what kind of person we want to be. So she really enjoyed Endling. Again, I talked about, power struggles, the role of women, how you can be a strong woman and a leader, and suffering and loss and grief, all those things that she loves to read about and really explore those different emotions and different worlds. So that has been really good. I think she's done wonderful this year. She's definitely hit a more independent streak, which is interesting because she, of all my children, was probably the most attached to me, I would say, since birth. So to see her kind of come into her own and really explore who she is really interesting, and kind of see her go off and like embrace this instead of being so very hesitant and standing back. She's now pushing herself forward. So seeing her take that leap has been awesome, and probably one of the greatest parts of homeschooling is being able to see her come from the shadows into the spotlight. So she's done wonderful. Curriculum went awesome this year. I'm really proud of where she's progressed. And if you have any specific questions about how this year went, homeschooling, curriculum, or anything like that, leave them in the comments below. If not, thank you for watching.